The galaxy had been quiet for centuries. The great alien empires stretched across the stars, their fleets patrolled the lanes of trade. The Council of Races kept order with laws and treaties. Peace had lasted so long that most younger species believed nothing new could ever shake it. The old wars were history, forgotten in stories and songs, and the great fleets were more for show than for real battle. They had forgotten what it felt like to be afraid of the unknown. But then one day, deep space sensors picked up something strange, something no one could explain. A single object appeared at the edge of known space, was metallic, massive, and moved with steady purpose. It was not a natural rock or drifting debris. It was a ship, yet it was unlike any ship the galaxy had ever built. The first image came from a far-out listening post. At first, the officers thought it was a broken machine or some forgotten relic. Drifting alone, the object was moving too fast to direct. It carried power signatures that were not alien in design, not like the smooth, energy-clean ships of the Council. This one looked old, heavy, and dangerous. Its shape was sharp, its hull layered with thick plates of armor. It did not glide like a vessel of peace. It moved like a predator. When the images were enhanced, they saw lots of weapons mounted across its body. Cannons, missile ports, rail systems, things alien scanners could not even identify. The ship was armed for war. The discovery spread quickly, and soon the Council of Races called for an emergency meeting. Leaders gathered from dozens of worlds, their voices echoing in the grand chamber. Some said it was a forgotten warship from an old empire. Some whispered it could be an ancient weapon, awakened from the dark between stars. Others feared it was something worse, something new. The room was filled with tension as holograms of the strange vessel floated above them. It was bigger than most battleships in their fleets, yet its design was brutal and simple without the elegance of alien engineering. It was not made for comfort or for beauty or even for diplomacy. It was made for survival. When the ship came closer, its hull markings became visible. Symbols, letters, a language unknown to the Council. At first, no one could translate them. But slowly, with their machines and shared databases, they found meaning. On the side of the warship, painted in bold white, a single word appeared in alien tongue. The word was Earth. It was not a name the galaxy had ever heard before. No records, no history, no trade, no signals. This world, this Earth, was a ghost in the stars, unknown and silent until now. That silence was terrifying. For what kind of world sends its first message to the galaxy not with words or diplomats, but with a warship? Rumors spread fast among the people. Some said Earth was an empire rising in secret, building strength far away. Others thought it was a lost species, forgotten by time, returning now with vengeance. Whispers grew in marketplaces and fleets. In palaces, if this was only one ship, how many more waited behind it? The Council tried to calm the fear, but fear had already taken root. The image of the Earth warship was shown across star systems, and every eye that saw it felt the same chill. The galaxy had lived too long in comfort. Comfort was fragile. Out on the edge of space, alien scouts were sent to watch the ship more closely. Their orders were simple: observe, do not provoke, and learn what they could. But when they came near, something happened that shocked even the oldest commanders. The Earth warship reacted instantly. Its weapons locked onto the alien scouts with perfect precision, tracking them as if they were prey. The scouts froze. They had not attacked, had not fired, yet the Earth ship already had them in its sights. It was not careless. It was not slow. It was ready. The scouts backed away, sending frantic reports to the Council. And the reports carried the same warning. Whoever controlled this warship was no stranger to battle. Were trained, disciplined, and mercilessly prepared. The galaxy had always believed that first contact with a new world would be diplomatic. A meeting of minds, an exchange of culture, perhaps the start of friendship. But this was different. Earth had not sent a greeting. It had not sent explorers or traders. It had sent a machine of war. And as the ship drifted deeper into known space, the question grew louder in every mind. Was this ship a warning or a promise? Did Earth come to Tokor to conquer? The council chamber became divided. Some leaders demanded the ship be destroyed before it reached their core worlds. Others said that might be suicide, for if one warship was this dangerous, then attacking it might invite an entire fleet of monsters. A few voices called for peace, urging caution, begging the council to wait for a signal, a message, anything. But nothing came. The Earth ship moved forward in silence, like a shadow across the stars. It did not rush, it did not hide, it advanced slowly, as if it had all the time in the universe. The galaxy could only watch, helpless, as fear turned to suspense, and suspense to dread. Out among the stars, the warship loomed larger with every passing hour. No one knew who commanded it, or what they wanted. The only truth the galaxy could see was simple, for the first time in centuries. Peace felt fragile, and the unknown had returned. The word painted on the ship's side glowed in every mind. Earth, a world no one knew, yet a name that would soon change everything. The galaxy had never seen silence this heavy. Every fleet, every listening post, every watcher of the stars kept their eyes on the strange warship that carried the unknown word Earth. For days the vessel moved with steady purpose, entering deeper into charted systems, ignoring warnings, ignoring calls, ignoring every attempt at peaceful contact. The Council of Races grew restless. They feared that doing nothing would make them look weak, but striking first could invite disaster. Finally, the decision was made. A scout fleet would intercept the Earth ship, not to destroy it, but to test it, to see if it was truly hostile or simply misunderstood. 20 small, fast ships were dispatched. They carried orders to approach with caution, establish communication, and, if possible, force the unknown vessel to halt. The fleet was confident. Against most threats, 20 ships were overwhelming. Against a lone vessel, the odds were crushing. But deep in their minds, even these trained crews could not ignore the weight of fear. When the alien fleet first caught sight of the Earth ship up close, their confidence wavered. It was larger than they had imagined, a dark armored beast gliding through the stars. Its hull bore scars, as if it had fought before and survived. The scouts moved in carefully, forming a half-circle around it. Weapons powered but not armed, trying to appear cautious yet ready. The alien commander sent a signal, a standard greeting used for all first contact missions. This is the Galactic Council Exploratory Fleet. Identify yourself and your purpose. For a long moment, there was nothing but silence. The warship continued forward, as if their words did not matter, as if it had not even heard them. The alien commander ordered another hail. Unknown vessel, you are entering Council space. Power down your weapons and engines. Submit to inspection. This time, the warship moved. Its lights shifted, its systems came alive, and suddenly, every alien ship in the fleet felt the cold lock of targeting beams. Their sensors screamed, warnings every weapon on the human vessel was aimed at them with terrifying speed. It had taken less than a second. Panic spread through the alien fleet. These were not rookies, not untrained civilians. They were military, disciplined, and ready for risk. Yet none of them had ever seen a ship move like this. Alien vessels took time to calculate, time to acquire targets, time to decide. This warship had locked them instantly, as if it had always expected trouble, as if battle was its natural language. Then at last, the humans spoke. A voice, calm and firm, rolled through the speakers. This is the United Terran warship Resolute. Identify yourselves. The words carried no fear, no hesitation, no attempt to sound friendly. It was not a request. It was a demand. The alien commander froze. The voice was strange, accented, but clear. Whoever these humans were, they sounded utterly certain of themselves. As if 20 ships surrounding them meant nothing at all, the alien commander responded quickly, trying to regain control. This is the Council fleet. You are entering restricted space. Explain your purpose. There was another silence, heavy and long. Then the human voice returned. We are explorers. Do not seek conflict. But if threatened, we will respond with force. The words struck the aliens harder than any weapon. It was not a plea for safety, not a negotiation. It was a warning, simple, clear, unshaken. The alien fleet, 20 ships strong, suddenly felt like prey circling a predator. They had the numbers, they had the speed, but the warship had something they could not name: an aura of survival, of danger born from countless unseen battles. The commander tried one last time, raising his voice, demanding the humans cut their engines and submit to boarding. That was the mistake. The Earth warship moved. Its engines roared with sudden power, its weapons flared, and in an instant the void was filled with light. Beams of strange energy slashed across space, disabling half the alien fleet in seconds. Shields crumbled, engines sputtered, weapons went dark. The humans had not fired to kill. Their shots had been precise, targeted, leaving the ships crippled, but alive. In less than a heartbeat, the balance of power had been shattered. 20 proud alien vessels had been humbled by one warship from an unknown world. Silence followed, broken only by the panic of damaged ships and the stunned whispers of crews who could not believe what they had just witnessed. The alien commander, his ship, one of the few still mobile, stared at the looming warship and felt the weight of history pressing down on him. He had never seen such brutal efficiency, such ruthless precision. The humans had proven two things in one move. They were powerful enough to destroy and disciplined enough to show restraint. The message was clear, which was not a weakling begging for peace, but a force that offered peace only from a position of undeniable strength. The council received the report hours later. The chamber exploded into chaos. Some shouted for war, demanding Earth be destroyed before more ships arrived. Others warned that such an attack would be suicide. How could they fight a species whose first contact vessel alone could disable 20 ships with ease? A few leaders urged patience, arguing that the humans had shown mercy, that perhaps there was a chance for peace. But mercy itself frightened the council. Why hold back unless you were certain of victory? Why disable and not destroy unless to prove you could choose either at will? The warship had left them alive, not out of kindness, but as a message. The galaxy now had no choice but to believe it, and so the legend of Earth began to spread beyond the council chamber, across colonies and outposts and spaceports and academies. Stories whispered of a warship that answered diplomacy with weapons, that faced fleets without fear, that declared itself with cold, simple words. Some were horrified, calling humans monsters in waiting. Others were impressed, even inspired, whispering that perhaps this strange species could become a shield against greater dangers. But one truth was clear to all. The galaxy had changed. The peace of centuries had been shattered by the appearance of a single ship, a single word painted on its side. The galaxy could not look away. Every screen, every broadcast, every military academy replayed the same haunting image: one human warship standing against 20 alien vessels, and in the space of heartbeats cutting half of them down without firing a single killing shot. It was the kind of story that lived for centuries, a story whispered in fear and awe. The Council of Races had survived internal wars, rebellions, even ancient machines buried in forgotten sectors. But never before had they faced something like this, something new, something they did not understand. And when they did not understand, fear grew like fire in dry grass. In the days that followed, fleets shadowed the Earth's ship at a distance, careful not to provoke it again. Scientists begged for every scrap of data, engineers studied its design, strategists debated endlessly in closed halls. What was this ship? What kind of world built it? Most of all, what secrets did it carry? From the first analysis, the warship was strange. Its design broke every standard known in the galaxy. Alien ships were sleek, curved, filled with comfort. For long journeys, the human ship was a fortress. Its hull was layered with heavy metal plating that seemed almost primitive, yet scanners showed it could resist weapons that should have melted it. Its engines were not efficient by alien standards, but they were relentless. It's built for long endurance, able to burn for months without pause. Every line of its structure screamed of a people who expected hardship, who planned for war, who never trusted the stars to be kind. where alien ships had shields designed to disable an enemy. The human warship carried weapons made to destroy utterly missiles, with warheads of terrifying density. Rail cannons that fired slugs faster than light could be tracked, energy beams, of a type the galaxy had never seen before. And yet, perhaps the most chilling fact was not the weapons themselves, but the discipline with which they had been used. No wild shots. No wasted power. Every strike had been exact, every impact chosen. To cripple, but not to kill. Whoever commanded the ship knew war the way others knew breathing. Whispers soon spread that Earth was not a normal planet. It must be something darker, harsher, a death world. In the galaxy, death worlds were rare and feared planets where storms raged endlessly, where predators hunted with savage skill, where even the air or water could kill the unprepared. Most intelligent life never rose from such places. Environment crushed it long before it could build fire or tools. No. But sometimes, very rarely, evolution forced a species to grow sharp enough, strong enough, ruthless enough to survive. The galaxy's records listed only 3 species that had ever come from true death worlds. 2 had wiped themselves out in endless wars. The 3rd had been locked away behind borders for the safety of others. If Earth was a death world, then the arrival of its warship was not simply a curiosity. It was a warning that an apex predator had stepped into the galaxy's garden. The Council split apart under the weight of this knowledge. Some leaders demanded immediate strikes, arguing that Earth must be destroyed before it grew into an empire too vast to stop. They said mercy today would be death tomorrow. Others warned that striking at Earth now could trigger war with a species too dangerous to defeat. What if this single warship was only one of many? What if fleets waited behind it, cloaked in silence, watching no one knew? That ignorance was the sharpest blade of all. Every path looked dangerous, every decision a gamble. For the first time in centuries, the galaxy felt small, trapped, like prey in a cage with something larger. In hidden meetings, scientists studied the warship's transmissions, hoping to decode more of its language. They found fragments of its log faint echoes carried on strange frequencies. What little they understood told them the humans called their vessel Resolute, a word that meant unshaken, unbroken. They also learned that its design was not new. In fact, it was old. Humans had built this ship not as their latest creation, but as something ancient in their history, a survivor of past wars. That realization shook the Council more deeply than any weapon could. If this was old to Earth, if this was only a fragment of what they once built, then what did their new ships look like? What had centuries of death world survival forged in the shadows where the galaxy had not been watching? Rumors spread beyond the council chambers into the hearts of the people. Soldiers whispered that fighting humans would be suicide. Civilians whispered that perhaps humans could be protectors, guardians who feared nothing. Some even dreamed of alliances, imagining fleets where human warships stood at the front, breaking enemies who had threatened the galaxy for ages, but others saw only nightmares. What if humans conquered not out of greed, but out of habit? What if their idea of peace was submission through fear? After all, their first word to the stars had been silence, and their first act had been to aim weapons at strangers. In the weeks that followed, the warship continued its slow path into Council space, never rushing, never hiding, always advancing. Its silence was louder than any speech. Every day it grew closer, and every day the debate in the Council grew sharper. Should they welcome the humans with open hands, or prepare their fleets for war? Should they trust in mercy, or expect conquest? There were no answers, only tension. Every empire felt it. Every species whispered it. Earth had revealed only fragments of its strength, but those fragments were enough to change everything. The galaxy no longer lived in comfort. It lived in suspense. And somewhere aboard the warship, behind armored walls and quiet halls, the human crew watched. They saw the fleets tailing them at a distance. They heard the alien broadcasts filled with fear. They knew the galaxy was guessing, panicking, struggling to decide what humans truly were, and the humans said nothing.
They let the
silence grow. For silence, they knew, was its own kind of weapon. The galaxy could not hold its fear forever. The Council of Races, despite endless debates, knew that words and theories would not answer the question hanging over them all. Was the human warship unstoppable, or could it be challenged? Could speculate, politicians could argue, but only a true test would reveal the answer. So in secret halls filled with whispers and shadows, a decision was made. Fleet would be sent. Not scouts this time. Not light vessels meant for observation. But warships, vessels built for combat. Trained crews who had faced rebellions and pirates, and even rare border conflicts. 20 ships had failed to intimidate the human vessel. This time, the Council would send more. 40 ships from 3 different empires gathered into a single formation, ordered not to destroy the human ship, but to force it to halt, to measure its strength in battle. The galaxy needed answers, and those answers could only come in fire. When the fleet arrived, the stars seemed to tremble. Dozens of warships surrounded the human vessel, keeping a wide circle, weapons charged, shields raised, their captains steady. But hearts heavy, the humans had shown mercy before, disabling ships without ending lives. Some officers hoped they would do the same again. Others prayed for it, for they could not imagine what it would mean if the humans chose to unleash their full power. The alien admiral sent the first message, his voice firm but strained. Unknown warship, this is the authority of the Galactic Council. You will halt your course immediately and submit to escort. Refusal will be treated as hostile intent. The words echoed across the void. For a long moment, there was no response. The human vessel continued forward, silent as ever, its engines glowing like steady embers. The silence was unbearable. The admiral repeated the command, this time sharper, submit or face consequences. Then the human warship stirred. Its lights shifted, weapons powered. And once again, the alien crews felt the icy grip of targeting. Systems locking onto them. Every ship, every captain, every soldier felt it in their bones. They were prey in the gaze of a predator. Then, through the channels, came the human reply. Calm, steady, unshaken, stand down, or be treated as hostile. The words carried no threats of destruction, no anger, no panic, just certainty. Certainty that humans could back those words with action. The alien admiral clenched his jaw. He could not retreat. Not now. Not in front of so many eyes. The galaxy demanded proof. He ordered his ships to close formation, shields up, weapons ready. And in that instant, the test began. The human warship moved with sudden violence, as if the stars themselves had erupted. Missiles streaked into the void, cutting through alien shields as though they were paper. Railguns thundered, their slugs piercing armor and crippling systems before enemy captains even realized they had been hit. The alien fleet tried to respond, their beams and plasma bolts crashing against the human hull. But the Resolute did not falter. Its armor absorbed blows. That should have torn it apart. Its shields flared with strange energy patterns no scientist could identify. And its return fire was relentless, precise, mercilessly efficient. Ships that had stood proud for decades, symbols of their empire's strength, now burned in silence. Their systems shattered, their weapons dark. Within minutes, half the fleet lay crippled, drifting helplessly. Their crews alive but stunned, and then just as suddenly as it began, the battle ended. The human warship ceased its attack. Its weapons cooled, its engines slowed. It did not finish the fight. It did not destroy the disabled ships. Instead, it hovered among the wreckage, like a lion standing over wounded prey, sending a message without words. It had one. It had chosen mercy, and it could choose otherwise at any time. For the aliens who survived, the silence that followed was more terrifying than the weapons themselves. To be destroyed would have been almost a kindness. To be left alive was to live with the knowledge that their lives had been spared, not by weakness, but by choice. Reports of the battle spread faster than light across the galaxy. Every detail was dissected, every moment replayed. The council chambers erupted in panic. Some leaders screamed that Earth must be destroyed at all costs. that this was proof humans were too dangerous to be allowed freedom. Others shouted back that such destruction was impossible, that no known force could stand against them now. A few voices whispered that perhaps this was the best outcome the galaxy could hope for, that humans were not conquerors, but guardians. Beings who could wield fear as a weapon without descending into chaos. But even those hopeful voices trembled. For mercy was unpredictable, and no one could predict how long it would last out in the colonies. Among the people, legends began to grow. Children whispered stories of the Earth ship that could break fleets in moments. Soldiers repeated the human warning in awe: stand down or be treated as hostile. Merchants spoke of a new power rising in the stars, one that could not be bought or bargained with. And rebels in hidden corners, those who hated the council, began to dream. If Earth could humble the mighty fleets, perhaps Earth could be the weapon they prayed for. Hope and fear spread together, inseparable, unstoppable. And aboard the Resolute, the humans remained quiet. They did not broadcast victory, did not taunt their enemies, did not demand surrender. They simply continued their path forward, slow and steady, as if nothing had happened, as if 40 ships had not just been broken around them. The galaxy watched in horror and wonder. What kind of people sent such a vessel into the stars? What kind of world gave birth to warriors who fought with precision, who showed restraint even at the height of battle? The truth was still hidden, locked behind silence, but one truth was already clear. The galaxy's test had failed. Humans had been tested, and they had passed with power beyond imagination. The galaxy had no choice but to listen. After the destruction of fleets, after the silence of weeks, after the endless speculation in council chambers and markets and war academies, the human warship finally opened its voice to the stars. Message came suddenly, carried on clear channels, translated by machines with ease, spoken with a tone that was calm and unshaken. This is the United Terran Warship Resolute. We come as explorers. We do not seek to conquer. But if threatened, we will fight. The words echoed across systems, replayed in halls and homes, dissected by scientists, feared by admirals, whispered by children. It was the first true contact the galaxy had with Earth, and it was not a song of peace, nor a declaration of war. It was something colder, sharper, something that felt like iron spoken aloud. In the council chamber, the message replayed on giant screens, and silence followed. The leaders of dozens of empires sat in tension, each of them studying the words. Again and again, explorers, the humans had called themselves. Yet no explorer came in such a ship. No diplomat arrived with such weapons. The choice to arrive in a vessel of war spoke louder than any word. One counselor finally broke the silence. They do not come to trade. They come to warn us. Another shook his head. No, they come to test us. Third whispered, what? Many feared to say aloud, they come from a death world. This is not a greeting. This is survival. The arguments rose again, filling the chamber. But none could deny the truth that lingered in the air. Humans had chosen strength as their first language. The alien peoples who heard the message reacted in their own ways. Some feared, some admired, and some even cheered. Among the oppressed colonies that hated the council, the words of the humans felt like liberation. Here was a species unafraid, unwilling to bow, ready to stand alone against many. Among the great empires, however, the words felt like fire in the chest, a reminder that their fleets, their laws, their centuries of dominance could be swept aside in moments. The galaxy was not used to being told no. It was not used to being warned. But the humans had warned them, and no one could pretend not to hear it. Soon after the broadcast, alien leaders demanded direct communication. For the first time, the galaxy would speak face to face with a human. The signal opened, and the bridge of the Resolute filled their screens. A man stood there, firm, wearing the uniform of command. His eyes were sharp, his posture unyielding. Looked at the gathered leaders without flinching, without fear, as though the weight of the galaxy meant nothing to him. When the council speaker asked why humans had chosen such a ship for first contact, the captain answered simply, because history taught us that peace is kept only when strength is seen. Those words cut deeper than any weapon. For centuries, the galaxy had lived in peace because there was no threat left to fear. They had grown soft, comfortable, confident that the stars held no more predators. But humans had lived differently. They had lived with war always near, with survival never guaranteed. The choice to send a warship was not arrogance, was experience, was the philosophy of a people who trusted strength more than words, who trusted action more than promises. And though many leaders hated it, though many shouted against it, none could deny its power. The conversation went on. Counselors asked if humans sought territory, if they sought resources, if they sought control. The captain shook his head each time. We seek none of those. We seek knowledge. We seek contact. But if you mistake our silence for weakness, you will regret it. That final sentence was repeated across the galaxy, replayed until it became legend. It was not the speech of a conqueror, but it was also not the plea of a friend. It was a warning, delivered with the certainty of a predator, that did not need to roar to be believed. For days after, the galaxy lived in debate. Some empires wanted to embrace Earth, to welcome them, to forge alliances before others did. They saw in humans a strength the galaxy had forgotten, a discipline that could defend against greater threats yet unseen. Others wanted to isolate them, to close borders, to forbid trade, to keep Earth outside as a dangerous unknown. And still, others wanted to strike, to risk everything in one decisive attack before Earth grew too strong. But fear made unity impossible. No fleet dared move against the humans again. No leader dared test their patience. And so the debates continued with no action, while the human warship continued its slow, steady path into deeper space, never rushing, never retreating, always present. In the outer colonies, legends grew. Children pretended to be humans in their games, standing tall, declaring in proud voices, "If threatened, we will fight." Soldiers began to whisper that perhaps the galaxy needed this reminder of strength, that maybe humans were not monsters, but teachers, yet always in every whisper, there was fear, because no one could say what humans would do next. No one could guess their true goal. The message had been given, but the silence that followed carried its own weight. A single warship had shaken the galaxy. A single voice had changed the way billions thought of peace and war, and still no one knew what waited beyond that warship. Was it a lone vessel sent into the dark? Or was it the first scout of a fleet that would one day arrive in numbers? Too vast to count, the galaxy could not know. All it had was the message. All it had was the warning. And all it had was the knowledge that for the first time in centuries, the stars felt dangerous again. And so the Resolute continued forward, silent but unbroken, carrying the word of Earth across the void. Peace, possible, but strength always. The galaxy could only watch and wonder what the humans truly wanted, and whether fear and awe would be enough to keep war at bay. The galaxy would never be the same again. The arrival of the Earth warship had broken the illusion of eternal peace. And even though it had not destroyed a single world, its shadow stretched across every star system. In every marketplace, in every military outpost, in every great city of glass and steel, people spoke of the humans. They spoke of the ship that had stood against fleets without fear. They spoke of the voice that promised exploration but carried the weight of war. They spoke of mercy shown not out of weakness, but out of terrifying strength. Some whispered these words with dread, others with admiration, but all with the same truth. The galaxy had entered a new age, the age of Earth, on colony worlds at the edge of council control. Children began carving the word Earth into walls and stone, as if it were a symbol of defiance. Soldiers painted it on their armor, some in mockery, some in secret respect. Admirals replayed the battle recordings again and again, trying to find a weakness in the human ship, but always failing. Scientists argued late into the night about what kind of planet could create such a species, about what kind of environment could teach survival, so deeply that even their first meeting with strangers was a show of ruthless discipline and common. People, farmers, miners, traders, looked at the stars with new unease, wondering if somewhere out there more warships like the Resolute were already on their way. The Council of Races could not hide its division any longer. Fear turned old allies into enemies. Some empires called for open friendship with the humans, believing they could become protectors, guardians of the peace. Others argued such trust would be suicide, that humans would only bide their time before taking everything. There were whispers that some leaders were secretly sending envoys to Earth, desperate to reach the humans before rivals did, desperate to claim their alliance first. The galaxy, once united under treaties and comfort, was fracturing under the pressure of a single name, a single ship. Meanwhile, the Resolute traveled deeper, never rushing, never threatening, never explaining more than it already had. That silence became its greatest weapon. Every day it remained in motion without revealing its final destination. Tension grew sharper. Was it heading to a council world? Was it seeking a meeting or preparing to strike? The not knowing was worse than open war. Whole fleets followed at a distance, careful never to come too close, careful never to provoke. And still the humans said nothing more. They did not boast of their victories, they did not demand tribute, they did not negotiate. They simply pressed forward, unstoppable in their quiet. Legends began to take root. On desert worlds, storytellers spoke of humans as ancient warriors returning from exile. On ocean planets, children told tales that human ships were alive, grown from iron and fire. In the deep mining colonies, workers swore that Earth must be forged from rock harder than diamond, where storms taught men to fight and beasts taught them to kill. The truth of Earth mattered less than the myth, and myths spread faster than fleets. In every corner of the galaxy, the name Earth became a story told with equal parts fear and awe. And yet, for all the fear, there was also respect. The humans had not come to enslave. They had not burned planets or slaughtered civilians. They had disabled fleets, but they had not erased them. They had spoken clearly, warned clearly, acted with restraint even when victory was certain. A galaxy grown fat with peace, grown careless and soft. This was something alien and strange. A power that could kill, yet chose not to. Believed this made the humans honorable. Others believed it made them even more dangerous, because mercy chosen today could vanish tomorrow. But either way, the lesson was the same. Earth could not be ignored. As weeks passed, the Council sent another message, requesting a formal summit. They begged the humans to explain their true purpose. The answer came in the same calm voice as before. We are not conquerors. We are explorers. We will walk among the stars, whether you welcome us or not. Those words ended the debate. Earth was not asking for permission. Earth was not waiting for approval. Earth had already arrived, and so the galaxy was left to watch, powerless to stop the march of history. For the first time in centuries, the great empires felt small, as if they had been children playing with delicate toys, only to realize a predator had stepped into their playground. A predator that smiled, a predator that spoke of peace, but a predator all the same. In the shadow of the Resolute, every race learned the same truth. Fear and awe could exist together. And together they were stronger than any fleet. Somewhere, far away on the blue planet, hidden behind silence for so long, more warships were being prepared. More crews were being trained. More explorers were looking to the stars with the same determination as those aboard the Resolute. The galaxy did not know it yet, but this was only the beginning. The humans had shown a single ship, a single voice, a single warning. One day, the stars would echo with more. And when that day came, every world would remember the first time they heard the word Earth.